Hello Persona fans, and welcome back to Trinity Soul Tuesdays, the show where I cover an episode of Persona Trinity Soul every 2 weeks and encourage you all to watch along with me. When we last left off, Shin was considering giving the police the hidden list of teenagers he found on Ryo's computer. On today's episode, it's apparently like 12 hours later and he's still considering it, but he gets distracted by Shin finds Jun attempting to tidy up their parents' old atelier, where we get to learn lots of stuff about this family. Like how not only was Shin a talented artist, but he was a really crappy student. And we learn that Jun is insanely ticklish. And I finally get an answer to my earlier question about what on earth their parents look like. It turns out their dad is Hank Hill, which I'm gonna be honest just raises further questions.
Propane and propane accessories.
Back in his office, Ryo is talking to Eiko and is getting some autopsy results on that boring guy he killed in the last episode. And that's really about all that is happening in this scene. Jun and Shin continue reminiscing about their dead parents and dead sister Yuki, cause, you know, good times, when they find a copy of A Whale's Feather, the last picture book their parents made together before they died. Around this time, Ryo makes it home, and Jun guilt trips him into them all eating dinner together. And much like in Persona 4, dinner together means everyone huddles around the TV and tries to avoid talking to each other as much as possible. Still adamant about the two younger siblings getting out of this town, Ryo offers to pay for an apartment of their choosing, leading to an outburst from Shin that completely ruins dinner, which means we don't even get to see Jun eating in this episode. Furious at Ryo, Shin finally makes up his mind and downloads the list onto his flash drive, and when he's about to call Ito, realizes he's hungry, so he heads downstairs and grabs himself a nice bowl of the nostalgic soup. So we get to see Shin eating, which is fine, I guess, but I mean, come on, he's got nothing on Jun eating. Blasted with nostalgia from nostalgic soup, Shin tries to apologize to Jun only to find he's not there, so he frantically runs off to try and find him. Ryo meets up with Eiko, who I've gotta say is just being a really good sport about handling this whole, the guy she's talking to just had her do an autopsy on a man that he told her he killed through means that should be impossible thing. Desperate for help at this point, Shin decides to call Ryo and let him know what's going on. I mean, after all, I just can't find Jun. He's not at home. He's not at the city's only restaurant. I don't know where else to look. While searching the bus terminal, Shin finds a feather that resembles the one from his parents' picture book. Those of you that have been paying attention may have noticed these feathers to be a fairly recurring thing in this series, along with our Mitsuru Chidori Potara fusion girl, whom Shin tries to ask about the feather and nearly gets hit by a car. Remember, kids, always look both ways before crossing the street to try and show feathers to girls. Luckily, that driver was Ryo, so we don't have to get the cops involved. Wait. Shin confides in his brother, saying the real reason why he wanted to move back here wasn't because their aunt got a new boyfriend, but because he wanted things to be better for Jun, who was apparently getting bullied at his old school. Wait, what? Who on earth would bully sweet little baby Jun? You're weird. Quit being weird. But the whale feather gave them an idea. Let's roll! While in some sort of a daze, Jun has found his way to the beach, and we get a flashback where their mom explains to Yuki what their picture book was about, and gives her a whale's feather as a memento, which honestly, that's a white feather you found at the beach. I'm pretty sure that came from a seagull's ass. As Shin and Ryo run up to Jun on the beach, she looks a bit different than before. And then this happens. Awakening to their persona, Seth, before passing out, returning to normal Jun form, where Ryo reveals a scar on his forehead. The siblings share a somber moment before Ryo drives them home. Shin finally calls Ito to tell him the truth about his brother. That he couldn't find any information at all. And that is where this episode ends. Oh man, this episode was dull. This was a 20-minute episode that felt like 40 minutes that had maybe 10 minutes of actual story. I understand that in some of these scenes they were trying to establish a mood, but it just felt stretched out and really, really boring. And while Jun Yuki's persona awakening was pretty cool, we don't even get to see Jun eat anything. Whatever. Those of you that are watching along at home, what did you think of this episode? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all again in 2 weeks. But for now, so long. On the next episode of Trinity Soul Tuesdays.
Don't think, feel.